everybody, it's Miss Kathy from the Merrimack Public Library coming to you from my kitchen for a very special Elementary Explorers. So normally this program is live on Facebook, but today we are going to make a special Halloween slime using some of those candies that you might have left over at the end of the October season. So for our taste safe candy corn slime today, you are going to need about half a bag of mini marshmallows, about half a cup of candy corn, somewhere between 3/4 and 1 cup of powdered sugar, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and somewhere between half a tablespoon and a tablespoon of oil. So our first step is to melt down our marshmallows in the microwave. You also could use marshmallow fluff if you have that on hand. You would just have to experiment. You know I love experimenting. You would have to experiment with the amounts then of oil and powdered sugar to get it to the right consistency, since marshmallow fluff is not the same texture as mini marshmallows. So I'm going to microwave this and I'll be back in just a sec.
Good.
Okay, let's see how we did. So I microwaved my marshmallow for about 1.5 minutes and it's quite sticky. You can see the strings connecting the marshmallow to the side of the bowl. We are going to add our candy corn in, give it a stir, and now we are going to put it back in the microwave for about 30 seconds at a time. We'll stir it every 30 seconds until this becomes soft and liquidy. And as a note to all of my caregivers out there, you want to make sure that you are the one handling this hot dish and that you are definitely hands-on for this slime as we start mixing it, because the sugar is going to stay hot even as we start turning our marshmallows into slime. Okay, so it only took about 45 seconds for me to get this very melty. You can see that it is very, very liquid, and I think it's more liquid than sticky, but it is very hot. So we want to make sure that we are being careful until it cools down. Now, before it cools down, we have to turn it into slime. So we are going to add our liquids first. So that is half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then about half a tablespoon of oil. I have a little extra oil because I might need more. As you know, slime making, it's always an experiment where you're sort of adding a dry thing and then adding a wet thing until you get the texture you want. So I thought it would be helpful to have a little extra oil on hand in case I need it later. I'm also going to make sure to scrape the sides of the bowl, as much as I can anyway, while I mix this in. So I called this a taste safe slime, and as you can see so far, we're using all food. I would not recommend eating this as dessert, even though it is tempting. I love candy corn. But it is intended to be safe for children of all ages because it's not going to cause any harm if they end up, playing with it and putting their fingers in their mouth. So this is not an endorsement for you to snack on it, but it is hopefully safe for the whole family. So now that I've mixed in my oil and my vanilla, and it smells really good, and it has that beautiful orangey color that I definitely associate with the leaves on the trees and Halloween and jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins and all sorts of fall goodness. we're going to start adding in our powdered sugar just a little bit at a time. So it should take me probably 3 or 4 different times to get all of the sugar mixed in. It's also going to get harder and harder to stir it as our marshmallow and candy corn cool down, and as we add more sugar, that's going to thicken our slime. But it's not quite cool enough yet for us to take out and knead. We have to keep working it first. Now it sort of smells like frosting. I am excited to hear how it works for you, especially if you are using marshmallow fluff instead of marshmallows. That's going to require less microwaving, which means you'll be able to knead it sooner. It'll be a little bit safer for particularly small and impatient hands. But I think it will affect the amount of liquids you're adding and then the amount of powdered sugar you need to balance out those liquids. The oil and the vanilla are not just there to add moisture, they're there to add elasticity. And you can see that this is pretty stretchy. If I pull it out, I'm getting a good trail. And that is in part because of the sugar, like the candy, and then it's partly because we've added that oil. If you see any cats wandering in the background, you can say hi and you can ask me about them next time you come visit the library. I have 4 cats and they're all roaming around trying to see what I'm up to. Okay, this is definitely more dough-like at this point. It's a big difference from that slimy, that very liquidy, sticky mixture. We're now more of a sticky dough. So we're moving in the right direction. But it is still quite warm. So I'm not going to pour it out and knead it yet. And I think I may end up using that full tablespoon of oil just because I am not satisfied with this consistency. So we'll see how I feel once I get this sugar stirred in. And we're losing that bright orange color. As we add more white, it's turning a little bit paler, a little peachier. So this is a good lesson in color mixing as well. Okay, it is definitely cool enough for me to knead by hand, which is a good thing because the marshmallow is sort of pulling the head off of the spoon. I'm going to add some oil before I dive in because, as you can see, it's pretty sticky and it's sticking to my fingers. And I know that that is not for everybody. Some people do not like the texture of things sticking to their fingers. So if it's too sticky, you're going to add oil. And if it's too liquidy, you're going to add more powdered sugar. And you're just going to keep playing with those 2 ingredients until you reach a consistency that you like. You also may find as you play with it and as it cools down that it starts getting stiffer again because the marshmallows and the candy corn are both solid at room temperature. And we're not asking our slime to be completely solid. We're asking it to be to hold its shape, but not to be hard, not to be one form. So as it cools down, you may find that it stiffens up and you can just pop it in the microwave for a few seconds and loosen it back up to the consistency that you like. I think it is still a little goopy, but I do like the feeling of it. Aside from the stickiness, I think it has a nice silky texture. And I think it has a great color and a great smell. So maybe I'm gonna add this last little bit of my sugar and see if I can get it just a little stiffer and a little less sticky. Or maybe this will be another of those slimes that we try out and we experiment with and we're not totally satisfied with. Because remember, this is about the process, not just the end product. So we're learning something about chemical reactions by heating and cooling ingredients. We're learning about states of matter as we combine solids and liquids. We're learning about color mixing. So we're learning a lot through this process. And if we end up with a great slime at the end, it's an added bonus. But I'm gonna have to keep working mine. I am going to keep working it. I'm gonna end the video here, but I'm going to keep working my slime, and when I post this video on Facebook for our program on the calendar, I will make sure to post a picture of my finished slime on that Facebook post, so you can go over to our Facebook page and see what it looks like in a few more minutes.